So I'm not sure if you saw the updated video for the LED light install. I'd installed the red ones just because it's what I had at the time. So I've got the blue LED lights in here now, and I decided I liked how they looked quite well. Again, I left the overhead lights like they are because I do use this as a work truck and I do need a map sometimes, and staring at a blue map or paperwork or something like that just isn't going to work for me. But what I did notice at nighttime is at the back, it's still just kind of plain looking. So I'm going to get these lights that I've got in the front, and I'm going to install them in the back somewhere. I'm not sure where yet. I'm thinking up underneath of the passenger and driver seat. In the instead of doing them in the back, I usually leave these seats folded up since again I use it for a work truck. Sorry about the darkness in there, but I'm going to find a way to get some wires ran to the back here, and I'm going to go ahead and install them underneath there so I can light up the back of the truck also. So I think this is going to be a fairly easy thing to do since I've already got my front lights ran. I can tap off my hot and brown wires right up underneath here where this is. I'm just going to run it right underneath of the floorboard cover, the side rail cover, whatever you want to call that. There's enough room here. I can kind of get it pulled up a little bit without actually popping it off here. This just pops in. So if you have to remove it, just pull up and it snaps off of here. But I think I can take a little piece of wire and just actually fish it underneath to where I can get underneath my seat. So I'm going to find a spot for it. So first thing I want to do is I want to raise my seat up. So I'm lifting the seat as high as I can. And I'm also going to push it forward all the way. I'm just going to try to tilt it forward, get enough space under here. As much space as I possibly can. So these are the lights I'm going to use. These are Amper rock lights. I got these off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. Comes with the little small light. Comes with 4 of them. A little mounting rubber pad if you need it. A couple bolts and nuts. The light itself is fairly small, about the size of an index finger. What I've done is I've taken a 9-volt battery. The bigger terminal is the negative, goes on the black wire. The positive is the red wire. And what I've done is I've just took this up to the battery, so I can touch it to the battery, and I can actually place my light without having to run wires to it, so I can kind of move it around, see where it looks the best at. I'll take my hot wire and basically just touch it on here and hold it. And I'm just going to try to find a spot that actually illuminates the best for what I'm trying to do. Once I find it, I'll show you where I get it at. That does a pretty good job, but I think once I fold the seat down, it's going to block a lot of the light, but it doesn't. It actually does pretty good underneath over the seat down. This is a nice hidden spot up in this corner here, and again, I'll show you once I get the light. That even with the seat up or down, it may work good. I'm going to stick it on the other side real quick, so you can see what it's looking like facing back at you with the seat up. So again, it's this little pocket right here where the back seat bolts down. There's actually a big enough groove in there to put this light and still hide my wiring harness. So again, if I put it right there, and again, I'm just kind of sitting it in there for now so I can test it. Fold my seat down. Looks like it's going to do a good job. If I put it up underneath of the seat, I'm not going to get, I don't think, the glowing effect that I want. Plus, if the seat moves forward and backwards, I'm going to have to worry about the wiring staying loose enough. If I put it on the vent that blows back, that may actually work pretty good. So the one place I was talking about was by my vent tube here. Now the carpet for this doesn't go far back. I can actually get my hand right up under and through that. I could feed the wire right through there and put it underneath of there. And this would just pop out here. I probably wouldn't even have to mount it to anything. I could probably just leave it sitting right there, pull the wire tight, and that would illuminate back onto the floors. If I do it, my other position I was looking at, again, is where the seat bolts down here in the back. Get the light at a better angle. If I put it in this little pocket right here, that will actually glow across the back like that versus just shooting out underneath of my seat. I don't know that I want that. I think I would rather have a glow similar to that versus just shooting out from under my seat. My own personal preference, you may like it somewhere different, but again, that's what the battery makes it easy for. Take the battery and put it where you want it. So I'm going to find a way to get my wiring back out here where this one is, and I'm going to try to mount it right up under here. There's actually a couple of holes right here. If I can get my light and my camera to work at the same time here. I could probably get one of these mounting tabs for the light to line up with that. I'm just going to use an 18 gauge speaker wire. This is a 4 conductor. If you want to use 2 conductor, if you just want to pull single red and a single black, you can. Since I've already got this in a jacket, I'm just going to pull it back, and then if nothing else, I'll have an extra set of wires to the back in case I ever want to use them for something else. So I've got my wire stretched out here. I just kind of fed it back there for now. I'll show you real quick if I can find a place to mount the camera. Stay out of the way. This is basically just going to back with my hand and literally just tuck it right underneath of there. This piece has enough space underneath of it. Just push it through there. So I'm just going to work this to where I can get this up here so you can't see it as well. I'm just going to take this all the way back and hide it so you can't see anything at all without taking any of the trim off. All right, to get through this section here, as you can see, I got it through there, but this was a little bit tight right here, so I removed the jack cover. If you've never done this before, you see it's got jack marked on the side. There's 2 plastic clips that hook in the back here, and what you want to do is you want to pull from the front. It's going to come off of the tabs that hold it in place. Once you do that, if you lift up a little bit, it comes out of the plastic, and then it falls off. And there's your jack. So I'm going to tuck my wire up underneath it there. And I'm going to go ahead and finish tucking it until I get up underneath the dashboard again. So I'm back up to my front panel here. This is where I tied in my first light at. Now to remove this little panel here, there's 3 tabs across the front of it here. 1, 2, 3. These tabs are kind of a pain in the butt to get out. They push up in there really hard. They're plastic. This is almost like a cardboard. Maybe it's a thin fiberglass. So when you remove these, you got to get your fingers up in there really good and try to pull down evenly so you don't break your fiberglass or bend it, because if not, when you put it back up in there, it's going to look like crap. It's going to sag and bow. So just be careful when you remove this panel right here. The other thing to remember when you're tucking this up in, since I've got some other wires, I ran my dashboard and stuff under there. This little piece right here actually goes up on top of this. So with your other wires, you've either got to go down below or up above that piece. If not, that piece won't fit back up in there really good. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap into my hot and my ground for this light right here. Tap in with my new wire, my hot and my ground, and then go to the back, wire the back of it up, and mount it up. So when you're making your connection up here, this is what I call a different strokes for different folks type connection. Basically, if you wanted to do this the 100% right way, you would probably strip these wires back, you would interlace them together, you would butt connect them, put a drop of solder on them, and splice them and heat shrink it. These little quick connects here are a good way to just stab onto the wire. If you haven't used these before, make sure it's for the proper gauge wire. This one does 14 to 18 gauge wire. All you have to do is slide this over top of your existing wire, like so. Stick your new wire down in it, like so. And then when you crimp this piece right here, it basically makes the connection for you, so you don't have to strip the wire or anything. It automatically will cut right through the wire, strip it, splice it, and you'll be done. So to me, this is fast, easy, and effective. So make sure your connections are up in all the way. I like to use a pair of like curved pliers like this. It just seems to give me a little bit more room to bite. It fits that connector really well. So I'm going to splice down on that, and if you look there, you can see it's spliced into the wire. This side, you can feel it. It's not going to come back out. And you close the little cap on it, and that keeps your wire from touching anything else. And I just wrap a piece of tape around these personally, just so I don't, ground anything up inside of it. Pushing it back up inside. Crimping everything's not always as easy as it looks. And push that down. Again, just check my connection, make sure it didn't pop out. Side wire's good. So I've now got positive wire to the back. So I'm going to leave this open for now. I'm going to go to the back. I'm going to wire my light. And then I'm going to test it, and then I'll put everything back together on this side. One thing while you're doing this, I have not opened or closed any of my doors. Since I connected my hot side first, technically you should have your battery disconnected when you're doing this, but I know there's no power there because I've ran a voltmeter to it. But for some reason you would shut this door and open this door. You're going to send power down that line and actually send power to the wire here. So make sure you don't do that and short something out or blow a fuse. All right, for this part I'm just going to use a butt splice. Again, everyone's got their own method. Mine's not right, mine works. Everyone's right, everyone's wrong in the world. But this is how I'm going to do mine. You could technically wire nut these, tape them, whatever you want to do. It's low voltage, you're really not going to do any damage to anything. So let's maybe blow your fuse. But I'm just going to take my butt splice. I'm going to put my first end in, so I can get a hold of it. I'm going to go ahead and crimp my first side because it just makes it easier for me. So let me get that up in my butt splice good. Make sure I don't have any wire hanging down, and I'm going to crimp it. So I'm up in there, take my crimpers and actually crimp my butt splice on that side. Check it, make sure it doesn't pull out. So I'm good and solid, and I'm going to do my other side. Again, I'm trying to keep my forehead out of the camera here. This is a whole lot easier if you're not trying to film and do this, but so I got that side on. And then this is heat shrinkable butt splices, so I'll probably take a little heat gun or a little torch and shrink those up. And just check your connections, make sure they're in there good. So I've got that one crimped after I get my butt kicked by it, won't lie to you. And I'm going to test it out before I mount it. So I'm just going to shut the front door, open it, light comes on. So I'm good to go on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it where I want it and then move to the other side. So that's the final result there. Basically I just used the little rubber pad that came with it just so it wouldn't vibrate loose. Ran the screw right through the hole that was in there. It was a little difficult getting the nut on the back, but I got it on there. And I'm just going to zip tie my spare wire right here along with the factory harnesses right here. Right up here in my front, again, remember this piece kind of fits up inside that hole there. And these little tabs, again, they just push up in there. Again, you may have to go to the auto parts store and get new tabs if you break one for some reason, but they should fit up in there pretty good. Just, again, make sure you don't bend your fiberglass up when you're putting it up in there. And again, I'm going to have to get my head in the way to do this. Probably just pause the camera while I do it. Make sure wires are up on top. Flap goes up in the hole like that. And again, these just push up into place. Like so. All right, so my passenger side, same thing. Tucked it down through here. Tucked it underneath my side step cover, whatever you want to call that piece, all the way up to the front. Now on this side, if you watched my other video, I just mounted this one right to this tab right here. So all I'm going to do is cut my zip tie, drop the wire down, splice into my wires like I did the other side. I'm not going to make you watch me do all that. Basically just repeat what you did on the other side. I've got my main light back up in there. I didn't even take it down. I just dropped the wires down, like so, off the zip tie. Spliced in my new one. I made sure I tucked it up under everything so it wouldn't be in the way. It won't be hanging down on anything. Got it right underneath my plate there. The other place you can see a little tiny bit right there. You could probably work that up in a little bit more if you wanted to. I don't really care. My floor mat covers it, so I'm not worried about it. Popped it out in there, and again, I mounted it to the back tab. So the one I opened up now, the back end should light up pretty nice once I get it dark where you can actually see it. Even with the seats down, it's going to light up really well. So this evening when it gets dark, I'll pop it open and we'll see what it looks like in the dark. Alright, it's pretty close to dark. Let's see what it looks like. Again, if I delete that top light, it'll look a whole lot better in here. And that's just using 4 of those pods.